Hello my sweet friends and welcome to DIY with Nadia. This is Louie, my little sidekick, and I'm Nadia. On today's video, we are going to take a little crash course on Deco Mesh. There's not only one type of Deco Mesh, there are many types of Deco Mesh, different nettings, different type of mesh that's used. And today we're just going to really get down to it and talk about all the specifics. Without further ado, let's get started. A lot of these Deco Mesh rolls will say weatherproof in big letters, but underneath in the smaller letters it will say extended exposure to direct sunlight may cause fading and loss of shape. That's because this is pretty much plastic, and yes, if it's in direct sunlight eventually it will start to fade if you are living in a very warm climate, and if it can get hot enough it'll start to maybe sag a little bit. So this roll is our basic roll. There's no foil in it, there's no design, it's just a plain Deco Mesh roll. I use this type of mesh a lot as a background or a base for your wreath. It's also a nice decor if you make little curls with it. It has many functions, and the nice thing about the fact that it's plain is that you can use it in many ways. This Deco Mesh is pretty much the same as our basic Deco Mesh, but there's one difference. It does have a little foiling through it, as you can see, these little stripes of foiling, and so we call this a metallic Deco Mesh. It gives a little sparkle when you use this as a base wreath, as a curl, as a cruffle or a ruffle. This Deco Mesh comes in many sizes, anywhere from 5.5 inches to 21 inches in width, and I also make sure that when I'm buying this mesh I do get the 10 yards. This next Deco Mesh is so much fun. It's either called a deluxe wide foil Deco Mesh or just wide foil Deco Mesh. The entire width of our Deco Mesh is pretty much foiled. It is throughout and it's woven into the actual Deco Mesh. It's so beautiful. Usually I use these as bases. The one thing I do want to remind you, when using this type of Deco Mesh, it will fray because we're dealing with a lot of foil. I recommend using it in a continuous method, like the poof method, the bubble method, anything where you're going non-stop. You can also use this as a cruffle too, because if you're going to curl this and then collect it, yes, it's going to be fine, but right here you can still have chances of fraying. So just keep that in mind. You can do whatever you want, obviously, but when I use this type of mesh, I do try to use some kind of a continuous method. This is a silver version of that, and here you can definitely tell that the foil strips in there are quite wide. This beautiful Deco Mesh is labeled as wide weave mesh, but I know it as basket weave, also known as check weave. If you take a look at it, you can see squares. It's basically woven like a basket. There are some that are more prominent, some that are less prominent, but basically the key to this type of Deco Mesh is the squares. So if you see squares like that, that is a basket weave. I don't recommend using this as a base. I would use it as a ruffle, a cruffle, a curl. You can cut this using a rotary runner scissors, but a lot of people like to use the heating tool for this because it is a very delicate type of Deco Mesh. The next Deco Mesh I'm going to show you is an eyelash Deco Mesh. The eyelash Deco Mesh has a continuous kind of eyelashes going right here with some thicker strands in between, so it kind of looks like little eyelashes. A lot of people confuse the eyelash with the basket weave. When you see them side by side, they're pretty obvious. The eyelash doesn't have these strands that make the squares because it's just eyelashes all the way. This one also has little eyelashes, but it does have little strands right here that make the little squares. Basket Deco Mesh, Eyelash Deco Mesh. Because this Deco Mesh is so elegant, I do actually recommend using a heating tool to cut it. But if you don't have it, that's fine too. You can just use scissors and go very carefully along the lines as you cut. This Deco Mesh comes in two basic widths, 10 inches like this one, and then 21 inches. If you're going to use this Deco Mesh as possibly a base, what I recommend doing is putting it over something, maybe even a black Deco Mesh like we have in this example right here, where it brings out this beautiful design. But you can definitely use this as ruffles, curls. It's such a beautiful Deco Mesh. All of these beautiful Deco Mesh rolls I consider to be part of the Snowball Deco Mesh family. Also could be called Pom-Pom Deco Mesh or Puffball Deco Mesh. And let's take a look why it's called that. Basically, you have this Deco Mesh. This particular one is actually called Burlap Pom-Pom Deco Mesh. It has these white little snowballs. So super cute. Perfect for Christmas, winter. This next one is a little bit different, and that is because we have a little snowball, then we have a little thread, then the little snowball, thread, snowball, thread, and goes all the way down. This type of mesh is perfect to be used as curls, so 10-inch little piece, and curl it up. If you want to use it in a bundle somewhere, use it as ruffles, cruffles. Perfect to use in a pancake wreath. This Deco Mesh is a little bit different. Instead of little snowballs, it literally has this snowball thread going all the way through. It's called Drift Mesh. Imagine a little bit of red with it. Look at the green with it, how beautiful that is. But yes, this is so, so beautiful. Let's talk about this beautiful Deco Mesh. It's labeled as Polka Dot Deco Mesh. It's 10 inches by 10 yards. This Deco Mesh is absolutely stunning. And this type of Deco Mesh is actually called a woven Deco Mesh. And it also can come in houndstooth, candy cane, stripe, all kinds of patterns. And the way you distinguish it is basically if you think of a sweater where on one side it has polka dots that are white, on the other one they're red, kind of like in a woven sweater. One thing I do recommend for this type of Deco Mesh is to use a heating tool to cut it, because you are just dealing with a lot of layers, and when you do use a heating tool, make sure you go down the line and try to keep a straight line as you're cutting it. I just cannot get over the beauty of this Deco Mesh. Just look at these cuties. This type of mesh is called a pattern Deco Mesh. We have little ribbon that goes throughout. Both of these are burlap jute cord patterned mesh, and just look how pretty this is with some little candy cane. And then this one has an animal print throughout. This Deco Mesh is not cheap. So of course, just like you guys, I try to find them on sale, and I want to make sure that they stand out in my wreaths. So ruffle, cruffle, pancake wreath for sure. And of course, little curls to enhance any wreath, especially if you have some of it left over and you're not sure how much you have. You can use this in your wreath bundles with your ribbon. Basically, if it has a little ribbon going through it, we're going to call it a pattern Deco Mesh. Next, we're going to talk about a different type of mesh. This one is called soft poly mesh. As you can see, this mesh is weaved a lot looser. The little squares are a lot bigger. Can you use this mesh as a base? Absolutely. Look at this rich color. Look at the coverage it will give you because of its thickness. For this type of Deco Mesh, you definitely want to use a heating tool because it will seal in the edges, so it will give you less chance of fraying. This is the type of mesh that they use to make those gorgeous, gorgeous flowers. This mesh is more expensive than your average Deco Mesh. It is made with 100% polypropylene. The standard size for this type of Deco Mesh is 10 inches. I'm not saying it doesn't come in other sizes, but mostly you're going to find it in 10-inch width and also by 6 yards. It will say that it is weatherproof, but don't forget, little letters, extended exposure to direct sunlight may cause fading or loss of shape. It's a beautiful type of Deco Mesh. The colors are nice and bright and they stand out a lot more than our standard Deco Mesh because of the thickness of the actual threads. Let's talk burlap. The burlap mesh is, of course, a much softer mesh. It's the most expensive out of all mesh. I do recommend you using this type of mesh on a continuous method like the poof, like the bubble, because it will fray a lot, and that's because the weaving is so thick. The good thing is, because it's so dense, it's going to give you beautiful, beautiful coverage. It can come in assortment of sizes from 2 inches as a ribbon Deco Mesh to 21 inches. This particular mesh is a metallic burlap mesh and you can get it anywhere from 10 inches to 21 inches in width. This one would be perfect for a farmhouse Christmas kind of wreath. Burlap is not Deco Mesh, but it is mesh that can be used on your beautiful wreaths. I could not finish this video without mentioning some mesh tubing. It varies in size. As you can see, this one's really thin, this one's really thick. It has designs on it, like this one is a beautiful Christmas one, metallic one, and they come in different colors. This one was from the fall and it has little fuzzies. I hope you can tell. And I also wanted to mention that there are some glitter ones. There are some that have crystals all throughout, so the options and possibilities are endless on these also. These little beauties are great to give your wreaths a little whimsy, a little pop of color. You can use these in your ribbon bundle, or you can make an entire wreath using these. How fun would that be? There are a lot of types of Deco Mesh, aren't there? Who knew, right? Was this not a fun video? I hope you found it beneficial and I hope you had a little fun, because that's what we do on this channel. We do have a little bit of fun while we're working and learning. In the description box below, I would love to know which type of Deco Mesh you have never heard of before. And if you are not into Deco Mesh that much, definitely just say hello to me. I love chatting with you guys. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you're notified every time we post a video. With that being said, Louie has prepared 2 videos for you right here. You're just the sweetest, Louie. Thank you so much. So enjoy those, and we will see you in our next video. Bye, guys. Louie, want to say bye to everyone? Say bye. Mwah. Mwah. You're just the sweetest.